What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
The Imperial Guardians, even at their lowest levels, belonged to the Sage class. It was even claimed that some of the top rankers were on par with the Saint class. The Eastern Empire would likely be powerful enough to fight multiple demon lords at once if their overall might were increased.
The Imperial Army is just an outward manifestation of military power. For the naive individuals who could not comprehend true strength, a visible weapon of violence was required.
Bernie exhaled, sighing. This was not just a declaration made to the Western nations, but also to his own nation, or maybe more accurately, to the Empire's citizens. The citizens paid taxes to ensure their protection, but hearing that the army guarding them consisted of barely 100 soldiers would make them uncomfortable. Having a sizable army made sense, despite the fact that it was wasteful. Also, it was fine when they were attacking, but they needed more when they were defending. The greater the number of people, the greater the necessity to defend them. The Empire's policy was logical in this regard.
In the past, the army's primary goal was defense, and it depended on the elite to conquer other nations and crush their will to rebel. The army would then be sent out to establish the emperor's dominion. Later, though, they began to send the army out first. I've always questioned why, but I had no idea that the aim was to raise up more awakened individuals.
This astonished Gadra as well, suggesting that it had been a very significant secret. This made it possible to comprehend Emperor Rudra's motivation.
This expedition probably wasn't about winning at all. Actually, Kalgurio Dono was awakened, and there were a few more people who were probably going to be awakened as well. In my opinion, Emperor Rudra's primary motivation in this conflict was to amass more pawns.
Benimaru voiced his opinion as well, sounding like he had reached the same conclusion as I did. Bernie snuck in a few words while nodding his head.
On this expedition, there were a number of subjects who might be awakened. Not just General Kalgurio, but also Colonel Kansas, Major General Minutes, and Krishna. The instruction I was given was that we were to help the awakened individuals escape. I had never before seen a significant deviation from the commander's plan.
Bernie was grinning at it, but I didn't find it funny. This battle would have been more than challenging if that many individuals had been awakened. Furthermore, knowing that the Empire's goal was to awaken people, it became clear that our first assumptions were wholly inaccurate. My impression was that the Empire had opted to enter the war because they were confident they could defeat the Western nations, including us. When Wisdom King Raphael-san made the same prediction as I did, I believed my assumptions to be correct.
Notice: insufficient intelligence has caused the definitive conclusion to fail. A new conclusion will be defined to assure completeness.
Wisdom King Raphael-san appeared to be a little ashamed. Well, it wasn't reasonable to expect it to understand things to that degree, and I didn't mean to make unreasonable demands either. Don't be sad about it. Instead, use it as a lesson to do better next time.
Understood. Any omissions will be avoided by re-evaluating the information.
Really, I'm depending on you. In terms of the Empire's future, I would look to Wisdom King Raphael-san's predictions. I'll give an overview of our perspectives on what we learned for the time being.
Rudra is assembling strong awakened creatures. I detest to say it, but I believe he is capable of bestowing ultimate skills, like he did for Jiwoo and Bernie. With the octagram, which includes myself and other prominent Western nations champions, I believe he is attempting to assemble a large enough force to overthrow us all at once and rule the entire planet.
Benimaru and Diablo concurred with me when I said that.
It's complicated, but I agree. Isn't that the reason they only care about the awakened ones and nobody else?
Definitely. Although it is true that humans are weak, they will be capable of competing with us if they have an ultimate skill.
I am not pleased about that.
I don't find it amusing either.
All right, that's okay. If there is something valuable, we can just learn it.
But wouldn't that make the war boring?
Testarossa, you're thinking in an archaic way. Simply refrain from using the skill when interacting with others who lack. I believe it is the case, and I have already learned an ultimate skill.
Excuse me.
Isn't that dishonest?
You can't just ignore it.
The feelings of envy among the underprivileged are very delightful. I used to not pay attention to Guy because I didn't want him to feel upset.
Diablo was quite self-centered. I thought he agreed with me, but then the conversation went in a funny direction. I was beginning to sense a very unsettling aura from Testarossa and the females, so it was about time for me to put an end to Diablo's rampage.
Getting back to the point, in Rimuru-sama's opinion, the Empire's goal is to choose the strong, correct? I concur with him as well. Some people, including King Gazel, Lady Hinata, and Her Majesty Elmesia, boast of having strength beyond that of humans. By defending such powerful individuals, the balance of the world's power has been preserved. I can see why the real work doesn't start until we have enough people to upset the balance.
Rigurd and Kaijin had clearly read my mind.
I see. To surround ourselves with those who can support us and to employ the strong to deal with the powerful. The weak are nothing more than a burden.
It appears to be a horrific story, yet it will be easy for the weak.
Yes, it would be beneficial for the weak if only the powerful could resolve wars, but I don't like the idea of sacrificing the weak to make the strong.
When they heard Gabble and the others' responses, Calgurio and Minutes also had a sour look on their faces. It must have been a really ridiculous way of thinking for the persons involved. Moreover, I considered Hikaru's viewpoint to be significant. Those who intended to fight in a conflict should put forth a lot of effort. It was terrible to include those who were vulnerable. However, in practice, the world was a challenging place to live because there were some circumstances in which one could not say such.
By the way, Yuki Boy informed me that Demon Lord Gi appeared to be dissatisfied with the increase in Imperial war power. Gi is reputed to be the most powerful guy in the world, so I had puzzled why he was acting with such caution.
Gadra spoke as though he had a flash of memory. It is accurate to say that there is a chance the assault will hit Gi if someone has an ultimate skill. It made sense to be on the safe side.
Gi wants the forces of the Demon Lords to unite the entire globe. There is a conflict of interest because the Empire is attempting to thwart Gi's objective. However,
it's amusing. Why does that conceited Gi allow the Empire to exist?
If the strong got together, the combat would be more entertaining, but Gi is shockingly serious. If he could, I have a suspicion that he would simply go there himself and get rid of the fools.
Carrera, Diablo, and Ultima all expressed their skepticism. Testarossa responded to them.
It's simple. It's where Velgrin-sama is. If we interfere with the Empire, Velgrin-sama will become enraged. I've been so quiet in the Empire because of this.
Minutes murmured, so quiet. In a low voice as Calgurio, who had been listening, looked startled. I'm not aware of Testarossa's activities within the Empire, but they have nothing to do with me. I just let that aspect go because I don't want to be held accountable for anything that happened a long time ago. The name, Velgrind, caught my attention. Could the name, Velgrind, be?
That's surprising. I had no idea that White Primordial Blanc, no, Testarossa had such respect for the scorched dragon that resides in the burning mountain of the gods.
Testarossa grinned and appeared to ask, what was that? Minutes quickly amended his statement. It was at this point that I knew who Velgrind really was. She is Veldora's sister and one of the world's 4 true dragons, the Scorch's supreme leader and the Empire's secret treasure.
Respect is not the right term, in my opinion. I had a complex relationship with the true dragons. It is only right that I pay my respects to Veldora-sama's sister as well, though, given that our Lord Rimura-sama and Veldora-sama are comrades.
To put it another way, Testarossa wouldn't have shown any respect to the true dragons, if it weren't for the friendship between myself and Veldora, correct?
Is that to say that Testarossa kept silent because she knew she couldn't defeat Velgrind? But still, can't you defeat Gi?
You cannot win if you have to choose whether you can win or not. Without mentioning Gi, I have little chance of succeeding. It is not a matter of power or weakness, but rather the reality that the true dragons are an incomprehensible and unbreakable existence.
What exactly is the true dragon race if Testarossa, the personification of incomprehensible, speaks of them in that way? I imagined Veldora proudly laughing aloud, so I prayed she wouldn't say it in front of him.
Yes, Gi is not even threatened by the true dragons, but it is impossible to eradicate them, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so, at least with magic.
Demons seem to have a similar understanding that there can be no victory if you can't entirely eliminate them. Then defeating a true dragon was undoubtedly impossible. I seem to remember Veldora also saying that. He had stated that a true dragon might resurrect even after death. When it comes to demons, you can kill them by destroying their core, but with a true dragon, they will still resurrect. It would appear that some memories and personalities would be reset in that situation, but like other demons, it might be feasible for true dragons to be revived with their memories still intact. If that were the case, they would truly be indestructible.
If there were such an enemy in the Empire, we obviously couldn't launch a reckless attack.
Gi wasn't a menace to us, but he might be to others. Calgurio and the rest exchanged perplexed glances. Minutes, Jiwoo, and Bernie then took turns speaking after Calgurio, in that sequence.
I have to say something. With all due respect, I am aware that Velgrind-sama is revered by the Empire as a guardian dragon. She has been defending us from attacks by angels since the beginning of the Empire. However,
it is only because the Empire is paying Velgrind-sama tribute and pleading with her to give it on a whim.
That majestic and lovely crimson dragon is a representation of the Empire's wealth. After being approved by His Majesty Rudra, We, the single digits, are compelled to meet with that dragon. We must keep her name and face in mind and assure her that we have no ill intent toward him.
In fact, I've participated in that process myself. No one can be hostile. One cannot defeat such an existence.
So there existed a relationship between the Empire and Velgrund, but it appears that nothing could be requested by the Empire. I was also a little interested to see Bernie's response. Well, a lot, not just a little.
Hey, if you don't want to say anything, keep it to yourself. But who do you think would prevail in a fight between Velgrund and that marshal you were referring to?
What?
Let me say that again. Perhaps, did you ever sense the same signals flowing from each of them, or do you have any such memories?
No way.
Bernie attempted to laugh it off and appeared to understand my point. However, he failed and made a serious expression. Jiwoo was contemplating with a pale face next to Bernie. Now, I was certain of it. The marshal was in fact the scorched dragon, Velgrund. Velgrund is the reason Demon Lord Gi refrains from attacking the Empire. Perhaps the Empire had another menace in addition to Velgrund. Gi wouldn't have much of a motive to stay put otherwise, in my opinion. I sighed as I gazed at the large screen.
Good grief. Making a hasty action would just incite Velgrund, and deploying an army against them might result in instantaneous annihilation. If so, collaborating with Yuki's gang to conduct an invasion operation would be completely dangerous.
Certainly, information is really crucial. We stopped short of walking on a landmine when we learned of Velgrund's presence. Although it was alluring to try to make peace with the Empire, mounting a counterattack would only be a pointless effort.
Who among us could triumph if Veldora-sama's sister was to become our adversary? Should we invite Veldora-sama to join us?
That was what Benimaru said. Even while it may have seemed timid, this was simply the outcome of wise judgment. Those fooled into believing they can prevail in battle were unaware of the presence of a true dragon, which surpasses even the existence of the gods.
I'm not sure about it, to be honest. I don't want Veldora to become involved in our personal matters.
I made the decision to forego asking Veldora to fight beside me since I wouldn't want to engage in combat with my own brother or sister.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shout out to the new members of AnimeKouhai supporters: Martin Ramos, Marl Barsha, Aditya Vyas, Andrew Liu, Ralph Ignacio, Fawaz Sala, Chris Nelson, Karen, Mark Charlie Els, Hansel Ortega. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.